Hello, everybody. My name is Ricardo Cabrera, and I am the operations manager at the Latino Chamber of Commerce of Boulder County. And today we have Tim Rockow, executive director at the Inn Between Program in Longmont. Welcome, Tim. How are you today? Would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, Ricardo, how's it going? Hi, yes, my name is Tim Rockow, the Executive Director of the Inn Between of Longmont, and I have been fortunate to be at this agency for approximately 12 years now, and we are recently members of the Latino Chamber of Commerce, and happy to share our story.
Excellent. Well, thank you for being here, and I'm eager to hear what all In Between does. I know you guys do great things. So let's start with that. Why don't you tell me about In Between? What is it, and how long you've been around? What do you do?
Sure. Yeah, the In Between has been around we're in our 27th year actually, and it grew from a collaborative effort of a number of agencies, both government and nonprofits, who saw the need for not only affordable housing for low-income folks, but also a supportive structure where people could, grow and become more self-sufficient. And really, our mission is about providing those supportive housing services, promoting stability. We have a diverse a set of homeless or families and individuals that are experiencing homelessness. But it's more than just housing. That there's navigation resources, advocacy, life skills trainings, case management services. It's really all of those wraparound services that we bring to bear in addition to an affordable and safe place for people to live.
Well, cool. So help me understand this. I mean, besides all the services, and we can talk more about that in a moment, but how do you define homelessness? Because when I see that, I see people on the streets, and it's not right. That. I mean, that's an extreme case. I think you have a different mission or a different definition.
Yeah, thank you, Ricardo. That is true. I think that's kind of a short-sighted way, or just one way of looking at it. Really, the people that are experiencing homelessness are in our midst, and we probably are running into them all the time, and we may or may not even be aware that they're in that position. There are other terms like couch surfing that come to mind. Yes, there's a person literally on the street, as you say, but more often than not, people are in a situation where maybe it's not tenable. It's not, they're doubling or tripling up with family, maybe in a situation that is overcrowded. They may also be in a situation that's not sustainable. It's too expensive, and so they're at risk of losing housing. All of them are could be considered in the mix of a person experiencing homelessness, or if not, going to be on that slippery slope to being homeless. And so what we're really about, again, our mission is because we how we go about providing these services is really through this beautiful collaboration. And so we have 16 partner agencies, many of which are agencies that very well. There's our center, and there's the Longmont Senior Center, and we work with Boulder Shelter for the Homeless, of course, and other nonprofits like Hope, but we also have connections with the Boulder County AIDS program and the Genesis program. And so the mix of people that come to live at the In Between or reside at the In Between are very diverse by the very nature of those 16 partner agencies and who they bring forward through our referral process. So at any of our buildings, and we have 6 locations, and we can speak to that, I guess, a little bit more, but within our 6 building locations, all within Longmont, it's about an even mix between single individuals that, again, are housed at In Between and families. And we have families up to 6, 7, 8 persons living in our 3-bedroom apartments. And so, so within our 87 units of those 6 buildings, again, it's a pretty diverse set of folks that come to be housed.
Wow, well, that's amazing. And you said you have 87 units in 6 apartment buildings. So it's quite that's a lot. I mean, that's awesome. And you own most of your buildings, is that correct?
Right, and I should mention that last year in 2020 was a particular active year for the In Between. We had 4 buildings But then we finished a project that was a collaboration between United Church of Christ on 9th and Francis. They donated a piece of land and we built 6 units there, 1 and 2 bedroom units. And then in June of last year, we purchased another 10-unit complex of 1 and 2 bedrooms. I should probably also, before we get too far, there is a little bit of a breakdown between our supportive housing programs. We identify those with kind of 4 subsets, I should say. That there's the transitional housing program, which is generally about up to 2 years. So people are housed with us, not permanently, but the idea and intent is to build capacity and promote personal growth and advance on those strengths that they have. And so those people are time limited. Then we do have permanent supportive housing, and that's generally people who are elderly and disabled in that category. We do have a very interesting and unique sub-program called the Student Incentive Program. And that is, we get referrals from the St. Vrain Valley School District. Luis Chavez, a lot of folks know Luis Chavez, and he's as the liaison coordinator for the school district, brings students and teens that are living on their own or in a situation where it's not safe or supportive, and so they come to be housed at the In Between Living Independently. And so we have a set aside. Those kiddos that come to live with us through that program don't pay any rent, and we're really all about graduation. We want them to graduate and get the best out of their educational experience. And so that we have students, and then outside of that, we do have some contracted housing units that are for a few specific entities, like the city has a program, and the integrated treatment court, but not to get mired down in all the different pieces, but again, I guess I'm speaking to the fact that it is a very diverse mix of people housed at the In Between.
Yeah, well, this sounds like a really complete and well-rounded program where you're serving all different community demographics and needs. So do you have to qualify? I mean, is there a waiting list, I guess? I mean, I'm sure now in COVID times, it's an urgency type of a thing, but, first, do you have to qualify? And then, how long? I mean, is it hard to get in?
Yes, unfortunately, we do have a wait list, and yes, there are some qualifications that eligibility criteria that we look for, aside from experiencing homelessness. The other piece would be in our transitional housing, particularly, but even really in our permanent supportive housing, there is an expectation that you're going to be paying rent based on 30% of your gross income. So you do have to have income. And obviously for people who are working, or their capacity to work or potentially grow in some kind of a career or do better for themselves that way, they have those who have I guess a greater trajectory of more self-sufficiency. People who come to us on fixed incomes, it's a little more challenging, but they also are housed at the In Between, as that is seen as income, of course, a qualifying income. But those are, kind of loosely a few things we look for. But I think the bigger piece is that we also are looking for people who are interested and motivated and understand that maybe, whatever brought them to be in a situation where they're unhoused or not stable, that maybe it's time to try something new and explore different areas. And so that's where we can get behind them. If there's motivation there and they want to consider other directions, then we have lots of things we can bring to bear and things we can leverage for that. But those are, I guess that's a few things as it relates to eligibility. But there is this expectation that you're going to be moving forward. We revisit something we call a success plan. The success plan is something that every 6 months we'll take a look at and say, so what's next? Where are you going? And if you come to leave the In Between, if you're not in one of the permanent ones, the reality is that in a couple of years you have to get back into the community somehow, some way. And what's that going to require? And so we do revisit those and hold people accountable at the same time that we're trying to also understand and appreciate and have compassion for their circumstances.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. And therefore, I guess this is where the life skills training that you guys offer as part of your program is you're not just giving a freebie out, right? You're not giving people fish. You really want to teach them to fish so they can be self-sufficient and be a good member of society. So tell me a little bit about your life skills training that you guys offer.
Right, so every household that comes to live at the In Between first is connected to a case manager. We call them advocates. I think it's it's more dignifying to consider people or households as family units or what have you, and not cases to be managed, right? So, so our advocates align with the residents about, where they're wanting to go in life. And then we cater those life skills trainings depending on, what the needs might be. So the classes that we provide, one of the key classes we provide is really around healthy housing. And it's really a review of the landlord-tenant relationship. Some of our folks get into trouble there, and so they don't understand it's a legal document, when you're signing a lease, and there's both rights and responsibilities around that. So we do have a conversation with the healthy housing training, but the classes we offer again are coming from the success planning that we do directly with the residents, and so those could be on cooking on a budget, or revamping your resume, improving your credit score. It may be on computer basics, or just navigating resources that are in the community. It could be financial awareness, financial budgeting, all of those kind of things. So so those are trainings that we offer, but I would be remiss not to mention too that we also have really a number of other things too, other tools, we call it, that we provide to residents. So aside from that capacity building, we'll also bring dollars if people are looking for another career, and we can support them through scholarships. And we have something called a Starfish Fund, that is a one-time fund for emergency expenses. We connect people to the YMCA. We have free memberships for the residents, and want to encourage people to consider that. Right now in COVID world, there's not maybe a lot going on in that regard, but having access to a gym and a place to go and exercise, we believe is important. But all of those kind of things, back to school supplies. We do a lot with holiday planning. We have a pantry that we offer on our sites, food pantries. So, there should be no excuse that anybody would be going hungry. So all of those things. And then finally, one thing that we recently added was the capacity for people to put some money aside. And so we have this matching funds. We call it the future savings, future housing savings. And if people put in $1, we put 2 in, and we cap it. But if they set aside some dollars and are intentional about that, then we'll throw in some funds from the in-between. And that is then something they can rely on when they do move out of the in-between. They have some seed money, to put down on that first month's rent or security deposit.
Wow, again, it sounds like such a complete, well-rounded program. I mean, by the time you go through the program and you graduate, if you will, you are going to have all the skills and the basic skills and society skills, not only to get a job, to be able to save, to how to cook, and all those things that, unfortunately, sometimes you don't learn, for whatever reason. So
that's right.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, and last year we had 21 households that did move out, even despite COVID time. And we of those 21 households, 90% of those people were able to provide a sustainable, or find a stable and permanent housing situation. And again, because I had mentioned we are kind of a homegrown product and came from that collaborative effort of Longmont residents coming together, true to form, of those people that moved out, 85% stayed within Boulder County. And so we really are serving people that are from our community, and they're staying here. And so it's important to also retain people in our community. And our surveys have shown that we're able to do that.
Excellent. Wow. That's amazing, Tim. Thank you for all that great information. And thank you for all the great work that you do in the community in Longmont and St. Vrain Valley School District area. And before we go, I have one last surprise question for you. Are you ready?
Yep. Shoot.
All right. What's your favorite word?
Favorite word?
Yes.
Wow. Joy. How about that? I heard
Excellent.
that today, and somebody said, finding joy and meaning in those things in life is important, and sometimes we kind of forget those things. And so, how about that? How about joy?
That's a great way to finish this interview. So, joy to the world and to yourself too. Thank you for everything, and until next time.
Thank you much, Ricardo.